Hey everybody, welcome back to Boomin with Bella. Did you miss me? I know it's been literally forever and I'm so sorry about that. To be honest, I was going through a lot of burnout when it came to the podcast, and I didn't really want to continue it when I was feeling that burnout because then it's just not serving me and it's not serving you as my audience. And I started this because it was my passion. So I think the last time you heard from me was an episode I recorded in like February. And even though I did just drop an episode on Taylor Swift, that episode was recorded June or July. And it was already late. Like, I had gone to the Taylor Swift concert in May and I didn't record the episode until a month later, and it took me like 3 months to edit the episode, just simply because I was procrastinating and I didn't want to do it, to put it plainly. And I don't know, I was just really suffering burnout, like massively. When I tell you that I took my laptop with the episode on like 4 different trips under the presumption that I was going to edit and finish the episode while I was traveling, only to literally, as I'm traveling, do anything but. So I want to start anew. This is the official season 2 of Boomin with Bella. Everything else before was, we're just gonna call that me figuring out my footing. I just feel like I've woken up and I'm entering a new phase, and I now know where I want to go with this podcast. Just to kind of let you know what's been going on in this episode, we're not going to talk about music. I'm sorry, that may disappoint you, but the thing is, I want to talk about me, and I want to talk about this and kind of where I want Boomin with Bella to go from now on, because I feel like I was just kind of doing it. Like, because it was a school project, I never really started the way normal podcasts do. I kind of just like did it as whatever, and then I just put out episodes as I could. But now I want to take it serious and like really put my all into it, because my audience deserves that and I deserve that. So that's what we're gonna do. I want to tell you like why I was experiencing burnout, because I don't want you to think that it's gonna happen again. It might, but I don't think so, because I'm feeling very creative. I'm feeling very much like in a place where I'm ready to do this, and I've got a whole bunch of ideas. I know the direction that I want to take it, and I'm not gonna be as perfectionist as I was prior. One of the reasons that I was majorly suffering burnout is because I'm a one-woman show. And while I take pride in that, it's a lot of work when you're coming up with ideas for podcast episodes, you're marketing it, you're scripting it, you're researching the topic that you want to talk about, you're recording it, you're editing the audio, editing video, and then running social media accounts. And I added a blog on top of all that, so I'm also putting out content on the blog. So it was just a lot for me to all do at once in my one person, and like, you know, keep it moving fast. So while I'm gonna still be a one-woman show, I do feel better about it, because it would take me hours to edit episodes, days to edit episodes, because I was going in and I was being very, very nitpicky. And I've just noticed other people who have podcasts or record podcasts aren't as nitpicky with editing as I was. And they're just, you know, doing it. And they're getting massive audiences. They're building a following. They're becoming household names, or they're becoming famous and interviewing people that I dream of interviewing. I kind of reached a breaking point where I was like, I'm holding myself back and I don't want to do that anymore. So while it may not be the top-notch quality, I'm gonna do the best that I can to the quality be in the content. So that's that. I was also just experiencing burnout and trying to figure out post-grad depression hit me hard. So that's why you didn't hear from me in like 2022. And in 2023, I was also just going through continuing, my mental health journey, which funnily enough, the day that I'm recording this and sitting down and talking with you all right now is World Mental Health Day. So I just think that's beautiful. But I was dealing with that, and I also started a 9-to-5 job and have just been trying to figure out my routine and my life and how I want to incorporate my podcast into that life, into that routine, as well as like keeping up my daily habits. I started doing hot yoga too, so it's like this whole mishmash of things that I'm trying to figure out and work into my schedule in a way where it's like my hobbies and the things that I do in my free time don't become a job, because I feel like that is what was holding me back in like the first half of 2023. I would finish my regular job and then start to do stuff for my job. Additionally, what was also holding me back is my fear of people disagreeing with me. I don't want to that's not exactly what I mean. I just was being held back by being afraid that I was going to offend somebody with what I said in my opinion. And I know that literally makes no sense. And you're literally talking about music. It's a subjective topic. But I was worried about the future, that if I said something about an artist or about an album or a song or a body of work, and it was out there in my digital footprint, and if I were to interview this artist later on, they would not want to work with me because I had disagreed with something they had put out, or I didn't like something that they did. And so I was always thinking ahead about that, which I know you're not supposed to do, because if I'm always thinking about the future, nothing's gonna happen in my present. And I also became extremely, extremely worried after I posted a TikTok in 2022. My family's gonna laugh at me because they literally know what I'm talking about, and I'm embarrassed that I let it get to me so much, but I just wasn't in the mental place to handle it. But I put out a TikTok about Bad Bunny's Un Verano Sin Ti, where I ranked the songs in the album just to my current preference. And even when I was making the TikTok, I was so avidly preoccupied with trying to express to the audience that that was an opinion for that moment in time, that it could change at any moment, because I was so afraid of getting hate in case it went viral. It did go viral, and unfortunately I did get a lot of hate. A lot of people were just in my comments arguing with me, and for the first couple that came in, I really tried to be everyone's opinion is everyone's opinion, music is subjective, but I did say that this was just kind of my ranking for the month. I literally said for the month of August. And people just weren't hearing that, and they kept saying BFFR, which if you're on TikTok, you know what that means, and that really offended me for some reason. And I just kept going and amplifying, and the TikTok wouldn't slow down with the velocity, and it kept reaching people. I mean, I still get people liking or saving that video notifications today. So it was just a lot. And for a minute there, I did wrestle with, okay, do I just let it be and don't allow myself to think about it? Or do I turn off the comments to try to preserve my mental health? But then I was going back and I was like, okay, if I turn off the comments though, then I'm succumbing to it. Then I'm showing to myself that I won't be able to handle this, in the future. If my podcast blows up, if anything, I won't be able to, I'm showing to the universe that I can't handle this. But then I was coming back and be like, okay, well, we don't have to worry about that right now. We're worried about me and my mental health, because we already know it's in the gutter, right, at the time, just in general. We don't need this adding on to it. Ultimately, that side did win, that argument did win, because when it comes to mental health, preserving your mental health is key. So I went that route, and afterwards it did die down a lot. I am happy about that. I mean, it's still, I would consider a viral TikTok, but it has definitely died down and is not as viral as it would have gotten had I left the comments on. But that really bothered me, and I feel like I had carried that into the episodes and the things that I've talked about, because I was always afraid of my opinion, like I said, to offend someone. But if I'm a yes man and I'm only saying good things and just either omitting to disliking something or any opinion that I have that is negative, how can I expect you, my audience, to trust my opinion and trust me as a music lover? That got me thinking, because I want you to be able to trust me. I want you to DM me for song recs. I want you to DM me your opinion and we can have an open conversation about it. I want you to be able to trust my recommendations, to trust the albums that I say listen to trust that I'm putting you on to good music, or to trust that I'm being honest with you and what I feel and my opinion of either this artist, this album, this song, or whatever. I want you to be able to come to me and ask for a playlist. I want you to be able to go through my library and find the perfect playlist. I don't want to steer you wrong. Even though I never was in the past episodes, I don't want to eventually give the misconception or idea that I'm a yes man and I only talk about things that are good and that I like, and that I could be lying. Because I'm not when I talk to you guys. I don't want to continue going down that road. Going hand in hand in that, sorry, tea break. How can you trust me if you know nothing about me? I don't think I've ever sat down and properly introduced myself. I think I just kept firing out episodes. I want you to see me as like your music friend. And one of the things that made me realize that is, I don't know how I got subscribed to this email chain or whatever, but this podcast, I don't even know what they are, like podcast company or production group or something. I'm on their email list, and they emailed a bunch of podcasters a survey link and was like, tell us what you think your struggles are with monetizing your podcast, blah, 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 etc. So I filled that out one day just on a whim. And eventually I heard back from someone on the team, and they asked for us to send a link to our podcast and that they would review it for us for free. So I was like, absolutely, like tell me what I need to work on, because at the time I was just drawing a blank. And I just didn't know what was wrong, what I wanted to do. The person got back to me very quickly and was like, I listened to your podcast and it's good. There was just some minor editing things that I needed to tweak. And one of the things that they said was, it feels like you're talking with a good friend about music. That kind of was something that reignited the spark in me and got my creative juices flowing again, because I was like, yes, that's what I want. That's what I want my audience to think of me of. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to convey. And that just kind of got me thinking, like, they don't know who I am. I just come on here and I spitball songs at you, and then I sign off. We're not going to do that anymore. Another thing that the reviewer had told me was to incorporate music into the podcast, but unfortunately due to copyright, I'm not able to do that, especially if in the future this podcast does get monetized. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to get the songs that I talk about to you, whether that be in the comments of, like, in the description of the podcast, or on the blog, or if I find a way to like make a playlist with the podcast episode and then the songs that I talk about in the episode all together in like one little place for you guys. I'm gonna work on figuring that out. Again, I am a one-woman show, so bear with me. If it takes me a little while, and if it takes me a little bit between episodes, I'm sorry, but again, one-woman show, I'm busy. But I'm gonna try to do that for you, because I do like the idea of incorporating the music that I talk about into this podcast. I just unfortunately cannot directly include it in the audio, because then copyright. But so about me, who is your host? Who's Bella Linez or Lainez? Changes per episode. So I'm 23 years old. I started this podcast when I was 20. Can you believe it? It's been that long. But I started this podcast when I was a junior in college, I believe. Honestly, college feels like it was so long ago, I don't even know. It was a course that was added into my concentration, which was, when I started out college, it was radio and TV broadcasting. And then I think it changed to media studies and production. And that was under the umbrella of communications. I have a sociology and marketing minor because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And I had a crisis my senior year where I was like, oh my God, I would so be a good lawyer. Or, oh my God, I want to be a history teacher. Or, oh my God, I want to be in sports marketing. Couldn't figure it out, so I figured why not get a degree in all of them so I can figure it out later. But I graduated in May of 2022, so I'm coming up on almost 2 years since I've graduated. After I graduated, I took the summer and I worked at a couple local radio stations and figured out that that was a lot different than college radio. Oh, I was on college radio. I was a member of my college radio station for all 4 years of college. Started out as just like a freshman on air doing quick little shows to eventually hosting my own and also taking over as general manager for my last semester. I realized that corporate radio is a lot different than college radio, and I feel like I was spoiled with college radio because I got to do it for so long and I had so much freedom when it came to the kinds of shows I recorded, the music that I played, that I just wasn't ready to go to the corporate world. I just wasn't ready. So I stopped that and started working in sales. That's the job that I have now, and it's great. I am the eldest of 3. I have a brother who is gonna be 20 years old, and he is, I don't know if you can see the flags behind me, but he is at the University of Iowa. He plays football. My family has this running joke calling like M-showed. It's an inside joke. But the reason I'm not M-showing is because he was on this podcast and we talked about all that. So you guys already know if you've been listening. And then my sister goes to Penn State. She is 18. So I'm 3 years older than my brother and 5 years older than my sister. And it's just us 3. I have a super needy Rottweiler, but she's also the most adorable thing in the world. Her name is Nala. She's 3 years old. She's a quarantine puppy, but we needed her for sure. Like I said, she's a Rottweiler, which is the first in my family. We always had labs. I'm just gonna spitball facts at you if you haven't noticed. I was born in Atlanta, but I moved to New Jersey, I think, in 2004. I'm not sure. And I've been in Jersey ever since. I'm still in Jersey, but I do claim Atlanta because I do think that a lot of my interests just come from Atlanta. I mean, this podcast hasn't really shown it, but I am a huge hip hop rap lover. I don't even want to say lover because I just like study it and research it like so much. And Gucci Mane is like my end all be all, like my ride or die favorite guy in the world. To even put it in perspective, I just finished reading a book called Rap Capital, an Atlanta story, that kind of it focused a lot on like 2016 through 2021, but it also like went back to the foundation of rap in Atlanta and how it evolved from artists like Shawty Lo, Jeezy, Gucci Mane, and Young Thug and Future and all of that weaving and bobbing. Yeah, what else is there about me? Oh, I've played every sport under the sun, but I am the least athletic out of all of my siblings. I was always the one who was injured or found a way to be injured so she wouldn't have to play. Or I had an ulterior motive of either like getting a trophy, getting a free chip, which something along those lines. I work out 6 to 7 days a week, I'd say. I'm trying to allow my body to rest more, so trying to take that down, but I do exercise a lot. I love to strength train. I love to lift. I love to run. Nobody heard that, right? just because my mom used to tell me that it was like the best thing for me and that I would feel great afterwards, and I really didn't want to believe that. And recently I've noticed that either when I'm running outside or walking outside is when I, one, have the most creative ideas, two, am in that flow state of mind, so like things get done. Like if I text you, I'm probably running, just got out of yoga, or walking. That's when my moment where I get the energy to like do things. Even like when I post, before I post on social media, like it's usually happening as I'm walking or running or doing something. Crazy, I know, but that's just when I feel my most creative. And oh, the reason that I say my last name weird. So I am half Hispanic. My father is Puerto Rican and Salvadorian, so if you see me take off to Puerto Rico a lot, just know I'm like reconnecting with my roots. It's like where I'm the happiest. And my mom is, I think, English, Swedish, German, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we're not aware of. So my last name is spelled L-A-I-N-E-Z. Reading it, most people say Lanes, but that's incorrect. So a lot of times what I tell people is just Linez, but when my dad says it and when my grandparents say it, it's Lainez. So one time I got yelled at by my eye doctor, who's also Latina, and she said, and I said, oh, I'm Isabella Linez, here for my appointment. She goes, no, you're not. And I was like, what? She was like, you're not Latinez. And I was like, yeah, I am. She goes, no, say your last name right. And I was like, she goes, I know that's not how you say your last name, say it right. And I was like, I'm Isabella Lainez. And she goes, there you go. She was like, don't ever not say your last name correct just because you think it'll be easier for people. So I've been trying to say Lainez ever since then. But yeah, most of my family lives here in Jersey. My cousin recently moved out to LA, so I have been going back and forth trying to visit her. But I am very much family oriented. If you see my social media, it's like a lot of my family. And honestly, my favorite holidays are like Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve, birthdays, because I spend that with my family. But yeah, I am traveling a lot because I'm going back and forth to Iowa or Iowa games to see my brother, because even though he's not playing yet, he is there on the sideline, and I do get to see him for a little bit after the game, so that's good because he's never really going to be able to come home for a long period of time, and I say long period of time like more than a week, so just getting out there to see him is really, really great. So yeah. And then another thing about me is I have always loved to read. I have loved to read. And it used to be just like novels or fantasy or fiction or whatever. But I really started getting into autobiographies. I started specifically with the autobiography of Gucci Mane. Kind of went from that, doing memoirs, like I did Rick Ross's memoir. I did a biography on Kurt Cobain, Bob Marley, Selena. So I really love reading biographies and just like learning more. And reading Rap Capital and Atlanta Story was like a different thing for me because it taught me a lot about the genre of rap and, you know, showed me different stories and stuff. So I do really like reading stuff like that now. I've also gotten into like spirituality and self-help books. And I say spirituality like positive mindset, meditation and manifestation, really those kinds of things. That kind of goes hand in hand with my new passion for yoga. I've just noticed it helped me get out of that rut that I was in. So I really like doing all of that. And I'm a baker. I can cook. I just choose not to. I like to bake. That I will do for fun. I realize that this isn't like a thing normal people do, but every Friday when music drops, I sift through every playlist that's been updated to find new music, and I go to artists that I like to check their pages, make sure I didn't miss a drop. I go through like best new songs. I go through like recently updated playlists. I go through all the albums that dropped. Like, I do an extensive search on the music that comes out every Friday. And I didn't realize that that wasn't a normal thing until my sister was like, I don't know how you find new music. And I was like, what do you mean? I spend like the first hour of my morning on Fridays doing that. And I am also very passionate about my music library and curating playlist. Specifically, what I've been doing on Apple is I've been redoing the whole thing. Everything is in like a genre folder, and then I go through and I've made a bunch of different playlists based on that. I'm just kind of like clearing out songs, updating, like creating niche playlists, because it got to the point where all my playlists were like 4,000 songs deep, and I just, even if I shuffle it, I'll never get to all the songs. I've been doing that on Apple Music specifically. Spotify is more where I curate playlists based on like events, mood, for people, and I've been having a good time doing that. And I will spend like hours doing that. I forget, like one time my dad saw me doing it and he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, don't worry about it. This is just, I am enjoying myself right now. Just know that I'm not scrolling, I'm not trolling. I am like, my brain is stimulated. But yeah, so I have always been a big rap person. I also really love pop, Afro beats, soca music worldwide, R&B, reggaeton, corridos, dembow, dance music, EDM, house music. Not so much EDM anymore. I had a phase when I was like 14, but kind of grew out of that. So I would say house music, rock, classic rock, throwbacks, like super old, like Etta James, Aretha Franklin, like that music. A little bit of alternative, sometimes electronic. I don't know what else to call like Kaytranada style music, but Kaytranada vibe music. Latin trap or Latin rap. I get stuck when people ask me like, oh, so what music do you listen to? And I'm like, literally everything. I've gotten into like French music. I've gotten into Dutch music. I've gotten into Brazilian funk. There's a couple K-pop songs that I've listened to because my cousin is a big fan. She's in that world, so I humor her and I'll listen. Reggae, like more genres just keep populating in my head as I'm saying this to you. And like sometimes, specifically men will be like, oh, what do you mean you listen to everything? I'm like, I listen to everything. It doesn't have to be in English. Like, I'll listen to it. And I do pride myself in that. I don't mean to brag, and I don't mean to throw it in the faces of people, but people say they listen to everything, but they don't know what the heck moombahton is. But I do. And if you don't know what it is, go to Aruba and go to Moomba Beach, and you'll figure it out. Or Gusto. Anyways, got sidetracked. I listen to everything, but my ride or dies are definitely Burna Boy, in no particular order. Gucci Mane, Selena Quintanilla, Bob Marley, Bad Bunny, even though we're currently beefing. He doesn't know that, but we are. Beyonce, Rihanna, Machel Montano, right now Danny Ocean, Kaytranada obviously. Oh, Wisin and Yandel, Snow Allegra, Kalani, St. John, Biggie, Tupac, Snoop Dogg, honestly. I don't care. He might have like peaked in like the 90s, but still, I love Snoop Dogg as a person, so always ride or die. But yeah, so just to kind of put it in perspective, like those are my big ones. But I do listen to everything, and I will take any recommendations. If you want to put me on, please do. DMs are always open for that specifically. And to kind of wrap this up, I guess I just want to leave you with where I want Boomin with Bella to go and what you should expect for this new season and the future of this podcast. One, definitely expect more personable content, episodes where I talk more about myself as well as music and whatever artist I'm focusing on, just to make it a little bit more real. And also, I want to do more interviews. So if you're an up-and-coming artist, if you know of one, or if you love music as much as I do and you want to talk about it with me, please hit me up. Like, slide in my DMs, email me at boominwithbella@gmail.com. We can definitely figure that out. We'll work that out. I would love to do more interviews. I feel like the conversation can be so much more stimulating when there's two people versus just me talking to you guys and hoping someone will write me in response. But I definitely want to do more of that. I want to share songs specifically, but also like in a way that's not constricted to artist or genre or like format. Like, I kind of just want to be able to like spit songs at you, or just like recommend songs that I'm currently listening to. Like, I have a series on the TikTok where I do like a song of the day, so I want to be able to do that. And like I said, just casualness. I truly want to make this into like a place you can go for music advice, or like how I did when DJ Khaled's God Did dropped and I wasn't feeling it, and I wasn't sure if I was the only one not feeling it, so I had to go to Twitter to make sure. I want this to be a little community. That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah. I'm really back now, and I mean that as much as I possibly can. And for all your Booming with Bella content, there is a link in my bio on Instagram and Twitter, and then it's also on the website that has a compiled list of like all the links to go to for Booming with Bella content. So it'll take you to the blog, the TikTok, my Twitter, my Spotify, my Apple Music, my Instagram, everything. So that's, like I said, in my Instagram bio, and my Instagram is at Isabella with 2 A's, Lainez. My Twitter bio, which is at Bella, Lainezxo, and the website, which is boominwithbella.godaddy.com, I think. But again, you can double check at the link in my Twitter or my Instagram bio. And then the TikTok is at boomingwithbella. I now invite all comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree, if you like a song or you don't. I'm open to it, and I won't let it get to me, I swear. I invite this because music is subjective, and so thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am so excited for you guys to get to know me better, and for me to get to know you better as we form a little community of fellow aux players. Talk to you guys soon. Bye. Peace out.